With another Dragon Ball Super movie being currently worked on right now, the question that many people within the Dragon Ball and anime community have is how is this going to impact the world of Dragon Ball Super going forward, and what exactly can we expect from this movie in connection to the Dragon Ball Super manga and the Dragon Ball Super anime? Is this movie going to follow the events of a specific arc, reintroduce older characters, bring about new characters in the film? At this point, we don't know, but with the information currently given to us, what we do know and can expect from this movie is that the heads of the Dragon Ball room and the heads of Toei Animation do plan on making this movie bigger, badder, and more impactful than what we've seen in Dragon Ball Super Broly. And although there are many theories, concepts, and ideas floating around as to what exactly this movie could potentially be, a lot of you guys have been posting your concepts, ideas, and theories in the comment section of my videos, which I do genuinely appreciate and do respect all of your feedback, as one of many concepts that you guys have thrown out there is a concept character similar to Janemba appearing in the next Dragon Ball Super movie. And I do think among many of the theories and ideas and concepts floating around, an idea like Janemba wouldn't be too far off, nor would it be necessarily a bad thing for something to happen in Hell or HFIL to really disrupt the fabric of the entire universe itself, in disrupting the hierarchy and causing reality itself to shift. I do think it would be a very interesting idea in sending in Goku, Vegeta, and perhaps even the assistance of Broly if they need that kind of power behind them, as I do think a character concept like Janemba would be a really good factor, considering the idea that thus far we've gotten androids, Majins, we've gotten all types of different characters shown, but we haven't really seen a demon-like character since Deborah. And I do think that what they ultimately need to do is introduce more terrifying creatures like Janemba, who do possess reality warping techniques and abilities that could really put a halt to our heroes. So I do think that a character concept like Janemba would ultimately work, but then again, I don't want to see fusion. I don't want to see Vegito, I don't want to see Gogeta be the ultimate deciding factor in putting down an enemy like Gogeta, but instead, if you are going to introduce Goku and Vegeta alongside a potential third person like Broly, how awesome of a concept would it be for those three to actually get the job done together by using teamwork instead of using fusion as a last resort in putting down Janemba? And don't get me wrong, I love the idea of having another Gogeta versus Janemba rematch per se, but I don't think it would fit the overall narrative given the fact that we just got done seeing Gogeta. But again, I do think among all of the fan theories, a Janemba-like character, a demon that can really disrupt the very fabric and the very ecosystem of the Dragon Ball world would be essential because of the overall different nature he possesses in direct comparison to the characters we've seen before. Which another one of the popular concepts and ideas presented by the community was the concept of Cooler, as I just got done doing an in-depth discussion on why Cooler would be essential if they were to write him in, but to share my thoughts briefly on that concept, I do think that a Cooler-like concept working alongside Frieza would work, given the overall nature of Cooler and having to be rewritten to still dislike his brother, not really bowing down to him, but also having a disdain for Goku and Vegeta, having to do his own thing this entire time. I do think a concept like Frieza recruiting Cooler would be ideal for a movie, considering the fact that we could see potential sibling rivalries come about on the big screen, maybe have some tension come about in the fact that Cooler still feels some type of way, some type of disrespectful way for having King Cold directly pass down the Cold Army down to Frieza instead of even considering Cooler. So I do like the concept of Cooler. I'm just not entirely sure if they do want to go in the route of rewriting Cooler and reintroducing him, but if they were to do that, I do think it would be a great idea, and I just got done doing an in-depth discussion on that, so if you guys just so happen to have missed out that video, then be sure to go ahead and check it out on my channel, as we do talk about Cooler in depth with every possible scenario and idea involving his character. Now, we also have the concept and idea of potentially introducing Cell. Now, as I do personally feel that Cell would be a great addition, I don't think that they would go as far as to introduce Cell for two reasons. Number one, I do think that the spots that he has on his body are very difficult to animate, so I don't think the artists and the animators have enough time to sit there and animating all of the spots and all of the dots on him, unless they plan on giving him a brand new transformation or form that eliminates all of the spots that he has on his body, in making the animator's job a bit easier for them to animate him, but also the narrative of writing in Cell what would be his main focus: to attack Goku, to destroy Goku again, to go after Gohan for killing him. It would be really weird to see, as I do think that Cell would primarily want to focus on increasing his power and allowing himself to become even more perfect than before. For that scenario to play out, I would much rather want to see Cell come back in the form of an arc than a movie, because with a movie, you would have the ultimate reintroduction of Cell having to get stronger throughout the way, battling Goku and Vegeta. Ultimately, by the end of it, however, for him to get put down wouldn't make too much sense for me, as I would prefer having to see Cell in the form of an arc instead of a movie, because only then would we be able to have more airtime for Cell and seeing him grow as a villain in comparison to a movie. But I do think that it would work, but narratively, I don't think they would be able to write in a good story for Cell, even though he does possess the genetic makeup to make himself a very deadly adversary. I just don't think that, based on his current characteristics, with his arrogance, with his bravado, his constant cockiness, I don't think he would really get far, but it would be a great idea to see Cell return once more and have him achieve something even higher than before, and thus allowing him to become even more perfect than how he was prior. However, I do want to go on ahead and welcome back my guest Danny Ray Champ on this discussion, as Danny, me and you spoke off camera about the concepts and ideas for this movie, as I do want to go on ahead and ask you for your opinion as to what are some of the best and worst case scenarios for villains being introduced in this movie? Do you think it's going to be an older person having to be rewritten, such as Cooler, Slug, Turles, Harudagon, Janemba, or do you think they're going to go in a different direction in introducing somebody brand new that we've never seen before?
Alright, so I see a lot of people throwing out these fan theories, Alex, about, what could next movie be? In an overall sense, a lot of people are throwing out, what if it's from the other universes, the universe that Zeno erased before the series started? And I just want to start off by saying that I don't think that's a good idea. We currently have 12 universes that we know virtually nothing about, most of them, and we just need to focus on them for now. If down the road, like in a few years when Supers come back, the movie's coming past, they want to tackle, like in a Infinity War type scenario, big war across the universe, they want to bring them in the fold, sure. But right now, as is, we don't need to see them. In terms of what villains could we see come back into the series, into the fold, a lot of people have given, Janemba, they've thrown Janemba's name out there, and I think he could be very interesting. I don't think he's a character that they necessarily have to quote-unquote reboot in terms of his character, because there isn't really anything to reboot. He's just a demon, pretty much. They could change his design a little bit, make him a little more demonic looking, but overall his abilities and just his overall demeanor, I feel like worked back then in Fusion Reborn, and if they bring him back the exact same way in an updated scenario, I feel like it could work just as well now. I've seen other people throw out, the possibility of Slug coming back, and I feel like he'd be very good as well. They could give us more lore behind what the Super Namekians are. They could bring Piccolo back into the fold. I know a lot of people have gone after Super because of its lack of character development for the side characters. It's the quote-unquote Goku and Vegeta show. So they could use Slug as a plot device to bring Piccolo back into the fold. Possibly give Piccolo a new form, put him back on par with Goku and Vegeta. That could be very interesting. Slug could be on par with Goku and Vegeta, and then go narratively. Piccolo looks within himself, does what Slug did, because Slug originally was a Super Namekian, right? So the whole thing originally was, Super Namekians, they looked inward, they meditated, and they brought out this inner power, but it also made them evil. So maybe Piccolo could do something similar to where, Slug goes to Earth, he confronts them, Piccolo shows up, Slug goes on this diatribe of how the Super Namekians came to be, and then Piccolo, looks at himself, and with him being previously a very evil person, brings out that evil, but then turns it to good. And then defeats Slug, and then goes with Goku and Vegeta. But besides him, then other people have thrown out Cooler, and I'm not really excited if he was going to be in it. Cooler is more or less just a Frieza clone. He's his brother. Toriyama himself has stated that Frieza was born from Cold and Cold alone. And if they're gonna bring Cooler into the fold, I don't see why he would be any different than Frieza in that aspect. So at the end of the day, if they were to bring in somebody else of Frieza's race, I'm gonna be honest with you and everybody else in the audience, I think it should be King Cold instead of Cooler. Because the thing is with King Cold is that we haven't seen him. We've seen him, but we haven't. The thing is, in the manga, and thank you to a Discord member by the name of Daziel for showing this to me. In the manga, Frieza states, and this is canon, that the only person to ever put a scratch on him was his parents. Now, the word there you used is, I believe it's pronounced Oya. I could be wrong with that. If I butchered it, I apologize, but that could either be taken in a singular or plural sense. So it goes in line with what Toriyama said about how Frieza was born with from cold and cold alone. So I just think that, bar, how actually he would come back, because, Dragon Balls, of course, they could bring him back. Frieza could be like, Father, listen, I need your help. This is the situation. And then Frieza goes and tells him about the form he obtained. You could go into some lore on Frieza's race, and Cold could be like, there was always talks about, legends about this secret form that our race had, similar to the Saiyans, I know, but even so, I think it'd be interesting to add a bit of lore to Frieza's race, because we really don't know anything about it. But, so Cold does that, and Frieza's like, Father, I was born from you, which means you can get this same form. If you get this form, I know how cruel you are. I know what a terror you are. I know how you struck terror into everybody you faced. You're the only man who was ever able to hurt me before this monkey Goku came along. If you got this form, there's nobody that could stop us. And then, Cold gets the form, and let's say half the time Frieza does. But the thing is, the power starts going to his head, and he just keeps getting more and more cruel, starts berating Frieza, being like, you're no prince, you're nothing, you're low, you're scum. How did you let my Frieza force, my Planet Trade Organization get to the point it is now? How did you let this happen? You're a waste of space, you're a disgrace to our race and our family. And then eventually you could have even Cold like assault Frieza, beat him into the dirt, then have them go to Earth and have Goku boxing out with King Cold, have Frieza fighting Vegeta, and have like King Cold actually beating down Goku a little bit. And then have Vegeta beating Frieza, and have Cold go at Frieza again, be like, see, I was right, you're nothing but a waste of space. How dare you let yourself be beat by a monkey in my presence? And then Frieza could finally lose it, like, the only reason you even have that title of king is because I brought you back. You are nothing, old man. I am Lord Frieza, the true king of my race, of our people. You are nothing without me. And then have Frieza go at them, then you could do like a Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza versus like a power mad King Cold. I think that could be very interesting, and you could expand on a character we really don't know nothing about. And if it's just gonna be like we get a movie specifically about Frieza, I brought up the possibility of Frieza possibly merging himself with Saiyan DNA. And I know a lot of people are probably like, what? That makes no sense. Well, in the Broly movie, he did say he understood Goku and Vegeta's power, and you could take that as him talking about, well, I need somebody else in my corner, of course, because Goku and Vegeta are working together. Sure. But the idea that he hates Goku and Vegeta so much that he would put aside his hatred for the Saiyans and merge himself with Saiyan DNA, and I know that's a very fan-fiction-y sounding thing, but I think it's an overall great idea at the end of the day. I think that, he could go to Earth, and he could just calmly walk out of his ship, and Goku and Vegeta could immediately be like, something's off here, what's going on? And, they could just start fighting. And, it could seem normal on the surface at the start of the battle. Meanwhile, the DNA, the Saiyan DNA is starting to merge with Frieza. And as that battle goes on, Goku and Vegeta start noticing, like, something's off here. His energy feels really strange. What's going on with Frieza right now? What's happening? And, you could have Frieza slowly starting to turn. His appearance slowly start to change. He gets a few more animalistic features. He grows maybe some claws on his fingers, or his nails turn into claws. You could have him grow a little fur here and there, and he slowly starts to change, and Goku and Vegeta are just like, what's going on? And you could have Frieza go on this monologue of how listen, I hate you two so much. I hate you two more than I hate the Saiyan race. I will do anything to see you bleed. So I did the unthinkable. I merged myself with the DNA of the Saiyans just so I could kill you. I think that could be an amazing thing if done right. But at the end of the day, I think that's the least likely scenario of everything I've put forward today. But regardless of that, you know, I don't see many other things they could do besides, you know, bringing Cooler into the fold, or possibly, you know, Broly's second coming, which I don't like really either scenario, but you know.
I really do enjoy the concept after what you just proposed with King Cold having to come back, feeling disrespected that his son wasn't able to carry on the duties in allowing the Cold Army to expand and grow into what King Cold envisioned. However, I don't think that many people would have an interest in King Cold's character, being that we haven't really seen him do anything. He was always laid back, he was always chilled, so for him to be mad enough to get into training only to discover a power very similar to Frieza, if anything surpassing that of Frieza's power, do I think it's a bit too far-fetched, but I really do enjoy the concept of King Cold returning and pretty much belittling his son for doing a piss-poor job in allowing the Frieza Force, or the former Cold Force, to expand and grow into this mighty empire, just for him to come back, only for him to come back and find his entire army obliterated. Do I think it's very ironic in a sense, but between Janemba, Cell, Cooler, King Cold, Slug, the possibilities are there, and I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, as to what you guys believe, or who you guys believe the next villain is going to be in Dragon Ball Super. What are your overall expectations for the show? What are your expectations for the movie? And if you guys have any thoughts, opinions, or comments of your own to add, then be sure to go on ahead and drop them in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, if you guys are new to this channel and love anime, Dragon Ball, and of course, more importantly, the idea of anime as a whole, then be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button, drop a big fat like down below, and smash that like button, guys. Tune back in for the next video. If you guys are not following me on Twitter, follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming, follow me at Instagram at UnrealDBZ or Unreal Studios. Either or, one is personal and one's for Dragon Ball. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for your love, guys. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the Galactic Emperor of the Universe, and of course I'm here to tell you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming.
Also follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms to stay connected at all times. And if you don't, then very soon you will all be dead! Oh, did someone say UnrealEntGaming? Oh my god.
The fuck's up? On, put on some clothes!
Well, why don't you put on any clothes?
What? I don't need clothes. Jesus Christ, that's huge! What, Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!